Welcome to another episode of Going Beyond the Scale. I am very excited because I have a special guest today. I am Jay Jacobs, if you don't know who I am. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But this is where we love to really explore and inspire people to create lives that they love and to live them well. So today, I want to introduce you to somebody that many of you know. And I know extremely well, my daughter, Jennifer. Jennifer, come on. Let's see you.
Hi.
Jen. Jen is a perfect person to have a conversation with today in one of the topics in the world of what we talk about within Going Beyond the Scale. And I asked her to come on because she has had an amazing transformation in many places in her life. And this one particular area is a real challenge for lots of people. And Jennifer's been a real success. She's been inspiring to myself, to her mom, to our family, to friends, and what she's been able to accomplish. And the other thing is kind of funny. Before the interview today, I said to Jen, we've done a lot of stuff together. I mean, there's a lot of things a lot of people know us for being on Biggest Loser. We've done many things together, but all of a sudden I realized, like, wait a minute, I don't think I've ever interviewed you. So I don't know how this will go. I mean, we've had lots of conversations, some good and some squirrely. So we'll see. So Jen, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So I think the best way to set this up is, I think it's important for me to kind of out the fact that over time, I have learned that I scared the living hell out of you and your brother with my money story, money antics, having been somebody that's been a serial entrepreneur. I grew up with entrepreneurial parents, and we did all kinds of businesses, all kinds of things. And then when I had an opportunity to get out of school, I did have real jobs, but at a very early age, I got an opportunity to be involved with some other partners. And in a very short time, in the go-go time of the 80s, we built an international business, became extremely large, enormous. You got to feel a lot of the benefits of that.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to feel a lot of benefits. You travel to Europe with us a lot. You went on lots of trips and things. You lived a fairy tale life at a very young age with a lot of things we did. Then, long story short, wheels fell out of that. We went from that to a whole different way of living. Your brother has heard the stories of the things that we did. He's seen pictures, but he did not live the same way that you did.
Correct, yes.
So with all that being said, there's a lot of things you've done in your life and your career and whatever, but today specifically what we wanted to talk a little bit about is really your journey and what you've been able to do in terms of what you've shared. I heard an interview a couple weeks ago, which was great. And two major things came from it. You were talking about finding your authentic self. Part of that kind of came through Biggest Loser, you shared a little bit. And even more important, not only your authentic self, but also self-confidence. So I've talked a whole bunch. I'm going to shut up now, which is odd, I understand. And kind of just walk us through where that came about for you and where you're at this point in time, okay?
Sure. So where I am at right now is I am 38 years old, and I have a career outside of the career that I am, in addition, starting now, or adding to now. But I'm actually, ask me the question again. I just totally lost it.
See what happens when we've never interviewed each other before?
I know.
You said to me, I really get
I don't know how to answer that.
Well, I think the main thing is that, look, we talked about, we're not trying to have a conversation about The Biggest Loser, because if people know that story, they know the story. But that was a particular journey that was something I didn't try to do that. That was your thing. And we did it together and we learned a lot. And then that went away. And then, like, for everybody that leaves that show, they're kind of left with, okay, now what do I do? And so you had some issues after the show, a very big one that you had to overcome, and it's the money conversation. So that's why I set up the money story, because that was really one, so that's really where and so out of that, how through the money story, what you've been able to shift did you really gain your self-confidence as well as, to do that, I think you had to really find your authentic self. It wasn't just something like, it's something you really had to do. It was heavy lifting you had to do mentally.
Yeah, I think the important part too that I want to just start off with is I was at a point in my life, and it was about 10 years ago, that I was only focused on, I was really only focused on like how skinny I was or wasn't, or like how small I could really be. And I realized that a lot of other areas of my life were suffering. And I think it's important to say that if you don't approach your life in a well-rounded way, other areas will suffer. And for me, that was my finances. And after I came off of Biggest Loser, I actually was really unhappy because no matter what I did, I was unhappy with the way I looked, unhappy with the way I felt. It was never good enough. And I really beat myself up over it. What I found was with that, I really let go of taking responsibility for my finances. So much so that I was in debt severely. I had started working for a new company, and I all of a sudden had my bank accounts being levied because debt collectors were coming after me. And that was when the wheels fell off for me. So I really quickly started, well, I was forced almost, not by my own choice, but I was forced to take control of it and take responsibility for something that I tried to negate for so long, thinking that nobody's ever going to find me. They're not going to catch me. How are they going to like figure out like where I am, how to get money from me? Well, collectors are pretty great at that. So, so that was when I luckily was introduced by a mutual friend of my brother's to her parents, who are money mentors. And I worked with them for a few years, cleaning up my finances. When all of this had happened, I was very lucky because I had actually scaled back. I moved back in with you guys, and I was working a job trying to make as much money as I possibly could. And luckily, that was how I started. I had $11,000 in my savings account, or I had $11,000 in another account, and I was able to use that money to start to change my financial landscape with the help of others. What I went from in that process was feeling so scared, unsure, and not being able to look towards the future, that it really, being able to go through it and learn. I learned from them. They didn't just like fix my credit for me or fix my finances for me. They really taught me how to budget. That when I came out of it, I realized that these practices that I had to adopt to clean up my finances and my credit really transformed the person that I was. And I became more strategic with my money. I looked at it not as something that controlled me, but I was able to make chess moves almost with money to strategically maximize what I earned to pay off my debt. So it really brought me from a place of I was so scared and I didn't know what to do, to I actually was able to feel responsible, empowered, and confident about the money that I had and how I spent it. So much so that then it opened up and changed my perspective on how I looked at my future, which was huge.
The thing that was amazing, one of the things I had asked you earlier on, kind of a pre-conversation, was, what was most valuable that you wanted to share with people? And the word budget has a lot of weight in people's mind. And I know one of the things that you said, that budgeting doesn't have to be hard, and it provides more freedom, which is contrary to belief. I mean, I know that's the case, but why do you really why do you believe that it gives more freedom, or how is that real to you? How did that happen?
Yeah, how it creates more freedom is you actually know, what you have,
Mm-hmm.
and you know where it is and why it's there. And you can choose how to use it instead of living paycheck to paycheck, paying all your bills and being like, shit, where's my money?
Yeah.
I have $40 until I get paid in the next 2 weeks. No, it doesn't have to be like that. And I think that's where the freedom in it comes from. Because on the contrary, if you just stick your head in the sand and you just don't pay attention to it, that's when you're going to be more reactive about the money that you have and how you spend it, opposed to being proactive. And I think like being proactive about how you spend your money is really the key here, instead of letting it control you.
The other thing that I know that, because obviously I know some backstory to what you've been doing, I think a lot of what really also, in addition to what you took on yourself and with the support of your money mentors as well, you started, I guess, maybe people they heard what you were doing, and they came to you. And so you started kind of one-on-one coaching, supporting, sharing with people what you've learned in the process, which I always advise people to do, because that's really the best way for somebody to really to get it for themselves when you teach it to others. So what are some of the things, Jen, that you've seen, like if you've done this and you've seen other people that have been like you, maybe afraid, scared, don't have confidence, what are some of the things that you've noticed that seem to be a common theme amongst the people that you're working with? What are some of the things that you've noticed?
Well, okay, before I go into that, what I want to just put out there, mm-hmm. first of all, is like how this next like leg of my journey, and how we'll talk about it soon, but how body positivity, how budget positivity mm-hmm. Had come about or come out of, was because my money mentors gave me this incredible gift. They worked with me for years, and were very diligent. And I did the work, and that was the thing. That was like, that's how I was queued up when I first started working with them. It was funny. Their daughter was like, if you don't take this seriously, they're not going to help you. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm going to take it seriously. I got it. Do it. So I will just say, like, it came from the idea of like, they helped me, and how it shifted my life and the trajectory of how I see what's possible for my future, and how I decide to live my life and the choices that I make. I wanted to be able to give that to somebody else. And I was like, you know what? Like, I only know how to do this for myself. So let me see if I can actually do this for somebody else. So I did offer it up to be able to work with someone else to test this. And we did it, and we worked together. They did incredibly well. I still keep in touch with them, but knowing that and seeing the transformation in them made me want to build this even further and be able to make it more accessible. What I've done in my life, allow people to be able to learn how to do the same budgeting mm-hmm. and organizing of their finances, and do it for themselves, and then be able to pass along that gift too. So
the other thing I do want to mention here too is the fact that when budget positivity, which I've come to understand from what you have done and how you live, what a lot of people may not see, because, you know, in the world of social media, people see Instagram posts or whatever, and a lot of it is a fake facade. What I'm most proud of what you've done is I know the actual things that you've created from where you were and the fear that you had had. I remember one time as a dad, I felt bad about it because, you know, your mom and I have been together since we've been 18. And you one time were like, you know, you took it really seriously because you said, like, I don't have anyone else to back at this point in my life. I don't have anybody else to back this up. It's me. And it's like, I couldn't relate to it because I haven't had that. Okay. But I think that's a really important thing, because I think there's a lot of people like you. There's a lot of people that are on their own. And especially in this time right now, there's a lot of financial uncertainty. I think what has happened for you is because you took care of this earlier, it doesn't mean that you don't feel the effects of what's happening on financially as well, because there are things that are there. But what I've been really pleased to see with you is you have, through your financial fitness of what you've done, you've created a lifestyle that is not about appearance, but it's really a quality of life where you really have the freedom to make choices, which I think that to me was the shift that I got from, like, budgets are not like something like, oh, you know me, not my favorite thing. But when I started to see the example of what that meant, you weren't being like, and I teach you sometimes about, you open up your wallet. That's,
no. Dust the cobwebs.
Okay, dust the cobwebs off your wallet. That's what I did say. I was trying to be less whatever. But what I was teasing you about it, but what I really have seen, when you need to do something, want to do something, whatever, it's from a place of not like, but it's a place of being confident and being free. And that's very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible feeling. And the reason why I decided to figure out how to pay it forward was because this is not information that is readily accessible to many people. And there are so many programs and gimmicks and ways to, like, get rich quick. There's no, like, getting rich quick scheme. Mm-hmm. But when you approach your money in a simple way, how you spend your money or how you budget your money in a simple way, and you look at it for what it is, you really are able to understand it in a way that's not scary. And then what I think about in what I took away from it was, I now know how to do this, so then I can teach others how to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what's so special about it, because it can have a quantum effect. It is at the base, like, foundational level of budgeting. And it's really something that I recommend for every single person. It doesn't matter if you are a person in a relationship or in a marriage or whatever. But this is like you as an individual, as a person, mm-hmm. learning how to understand your money.
One of the things I was going to ask you that question, and you mentioned there are other things that are out there, but I think, if I understand from what I've heard you speak and what I've heard you talking with other people, it's your approach is simple. I mean, when you say simple, like, that sounds like, what do you mean by simple?
I mean, it's just that.
Okay.
It's when people think, oh my God, budgeting, it's like, how do I do this? How do I figure it out? And it's starting from square one and looking at what's coming in, what's going out. And it's not about having to cut back everything. It's so interesting. It's when I think of, like, the negative connotation of a budget, I think of, like, the negative connotation of a diet. It's not that. So when you have a budget, it's that you're making choices. You're making choices as to what you want to spend it on. And what I think of from that is, like, you get to choose your quality of life. You get to choose and prioritize what are the important things for you month in and month out that you want to put your money towards. And it could change over time, and it's flexible, because we're flexible, right? Mm-hmm. As people, like, our lives change, things change, priorities change. So being able to look at what's coming in and what's coming out on a monthly basis, and then make choices as to what you're going to put your money towards, only allows you to navigate truly any type of situation that comes your way in the future, because you'll be set up for it, because you're used to shifting and changing with how you spend your money, because you know where it is and you know where it goes, and you choose where it goes.
Makes sense. I want to have you share in a moment what one of the things that you are going to be offering to people very soon. But the other question I have for you, obviously, you know, the whole purpose of why I like to have these conversations about going beyond the scale is that there's a whole breadth of life, like what you were explaining, that goes on besides weight, size, shape, all that stuff. So for me, the parentheses around that is like creating a life that you love and living it well. Okay, so I didn't say your age. You said your age. Okay, I didn't do any of that. You said you're 38. So you're 38.
I mean, there's no shame in that. That's how old.
No, I know you don't look like you're 38. You know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, as your dad, we've had these conversations before. As you go through different stages of your life, like every 5 years, like what you think you know now, it becomes different, modifies. So at this time in your life, at 38, with where you're at, like for you, what does that mean to create a life that you love and living it well? What at this point where you're at, because it will change over time. Mm-hmm. What is that for you? What does that look like?
I mean, I am very much focused on the quality of my relationships, mm-hmm. And ensuring that those that I love and care for are loved and cared for by me. Mm-hmm. And why or how that shows up in my life is me being able to be responsible for myself. Mm-hmm. So then if I am fulfilled and feeling stable in my career, my home life, my like working towards my goals, then I can be the best possible person for them. And so that's for me how I view my life now. It's how can I be able to be who I am authentically and give to myself what I need so I can be for others, because life is about how you can help other people. I think that that's very, very important, to be able to serve others, and like doing it in this way. Money is such a scary thing for people. And I mean, yes, we just came through a pandemic, and I feel like more than ever, people are just looking for some guidance, mm-hmm. and looking for some help. So if I can serve them in that way, then great, that I've done my job. And if I can teach them, so then they can teach others, even better.
You know, it's funny. It kind of came to me in this conversation, and I didn't really realize it, but and you know me, if there's something that I have an issue with you, I don't have a problem saying, Jen, but you know, that's the way our relationship is. It goes both ways. But I do have to thank you. And this isn't meant to be the Praise Jen show. And people are like, what are these two talking about? But my point is, I think this is important for everyone, parents or kids or whatever you want to call whoever you are within your family structure. When you're a parent, you always 24/7 have thoughts and you have a concern about your children. You just do. It never goes away. You know, that old thing you've heard me say before, like when your mom was pregnant with you, it's like, well, can't wait till this kid comes out and like, woof, that'll be over. No, it's 24/7. That's all it was. It's been 24/7 for 38 friggin' years. And it's been amazing. But what I will say is I know this is a weird twist on this, but I think the one gift that I gave you and Matthew more than anything else that now has come back to me and I'm so grateful for, I scared the living shit out of the two of you to the point where your mom and I don't have to worry. We worry, but we don't worry anything that a lot of parents have in the area of career or have the area of money or whatever. Both you and Matthew are good examples of being responsible people, doing things the way they should be or whatever. So to me, I would say follow the things that you're sharing, because you have really traversed a very squirrely journey at one point in time, and you come out on the other side. And that's not an easy thing, because like you said, money stuff is one of the trickiest ones that's out there. And it's omnipresent in many things. So I want to thank you for what you've been doing, because I have to tell you, like what you said, I have no worry. Like you have so nailed the world of being debt-free and financially sound and having a mindset to do that that I know I can honestly endorse your methodology. It works. I mean, it's worked. You're living proof of it, and the people you work with as well are living proof of it. So, as we always like to try to do with when we bring people on, we want to share things. Hopefully, there's something here that's opened up for people in their thinking, but thinking doesn't make anything happen. So, what are you doing? What are you proposing? What's going on where you're moving from how you're sharing your story? Like, what is it then you're doing, and what's coming up for you, and how you can help people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have put together a budgeting workshop that I'm finally able to offer to the masses. And it's taking the same things, the same principles that I learned in a very simple way, and distilling it down to 4 weekly workshops. So 4 weekly sessions. What I really like about how these sessions will evolve is they are part learning burst, and the information and education builds each week, one on the other. But the second half is also a Q&A, because I understand that money is very personal to people. And to be able to come off of mute after learning something and ask a question about it, how it might apply to you, I think is very helpful. Context is huge. And to be able to take away that extra added value, so that you can go into your week having learned something new, and come back the following week to then build on that, I think is really powerful. So the workshop name is Budget Positivity, and really bringing light to the fact that it is an incredible, like, when you can transform how you look at money, you will transform yourself. And I think that is the most true and most amazing thing that I've learned throughout this process. This is something that I am going to open up registration for on March 1st. If you go to my Instagram, you can click on the link, or you can go to the Budget Positivity Instagram, click on the link. And what that's going to do is it's going to sign you up for the wait list. So as soon as registration opens, you'll get an email and you will learn about it. Very plain and simple. Like I said, this is a simple program, a simple workshop. In layman's terms, it's 4 weeks of 1-hour workshops over Zoom with me and other participants. This is a 30-minute session that you will learn, and then we'll have a 30-minute Q&A session. Each call will be recorded and sent to you, and there will be a Facebook accountability group for you to be able to connect with those that are in your group with you outside of the time that we spend together each week. And there'll be free tools that I will share that I've created to help me personally and how I budget. And I've adapted into my own practice. So, I mean, more to come, obviously, and why I wanted to do this and put this out there for more people is just to be able to give others the opportunity to feel empowered by knowledge and like learning how to manage their money. It's really simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated. No matter what your background, what financial position you are in, aren't in, it's actually easier than you think.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you for being here, because it's a topic that is one that we want to continue to explore. I look forward in coming back at a later time after you've continued this and it's expanded. Maybe there'll be some people that have gone through your workshop. That's the other part. Initially, we're having like one-on-one interviews, kind of like how you were doing things with people that you've been coaching. And then what you're doing as well, it sounds like, and having a group. But what I know I've found as well, and I'm sure you'll find the same things, you're expanding this, having other people talk back and forth. So I think it'd be fun sometime in the future, who knows when, but when it makes sense, it'd be fun to have some of the people that have experienced that come on and share some things about what they're doing, because this is such a big part of all of our lives. And it's one that unfortunately we don't really get in school a lot of times. Where do we get it? We get it from—
Not at all.
No, and we get it from our parents. Not always the best people to learn from certain things.
And then you have to learn some other way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not necessarily a horrible thing.
No, but it's right. We can't have everything figured out that way. So Jenny, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And for everybody that's been watching today, if you haven't already, please, we'd love you to join our rapidly expanding— it has been rapidly expanding. I'm very excited. Our Going Beyond the Scale Facebook group, mainly because it seems like whatever's going on in there, we're not trying to make this overproduced. As you can tell, it's not meant to be like we're going to be perfect. I'm going to mumble over words. We're going to think like, what? And Jenny's going like, ask the question again. Like, that's the whole point. That's how life works, people. It's not scripted. Yeah. Oh, wait, before I forget, one other thing I do want to mention, Jen, I forgot to mention. I know this website's not out, but I love, what is the other thing that kind of yeah.
So Live Life Out Loud is the name of the company, the production company that has produced Budget Positivity. It's a production company, all my own. I started. It is to be able to bring resources, tools, education to the world in a way that allows them to live life out loud. Don't live life small. Don't live it quiet. You live life out loud.
I so love that. And I know we weren't talking a lot of Biggest Loser stuff, but I got to say, having been with you and with Jillian, and she called you Jersey Jen, and when you say live life out loud, I've seen you live life out loud and being powerful and dynamic and soft and cuddly and all, like you, but you've done all that stuff. And I think that's what's kind of cool. It's neat when you can be a person that has not just one way, but a lot of ways. And that's one of the things that I think that people will get in your workshops. They're gonna really get something that's gonna serve them. It will be a methodology, but I do know how you are with people, is you do listen, and that's important. So thank you again. If you guys have any questions, comments, look, we put the information out here with Jennifer. We'll put more information out there. You can find out and go on and sign up for her workshop. And until next time, create a life that you love and live it well, and have a great day. See you guys again. Thanks, Jenny.